Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nosa Capital, coming to you on a rather warm but grey afternoon from the Southern Hemisphere. So, Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, comes in at about 67,161 or 67,175 now, as we were speaking. Ethereum weighs in at about 2014, and Solana comes in at $86.41. Fairly even all afternoon. So let's look at the overall market. Fear and greed, ladies and gentlemen, comes in about 16. Not unusual. It's been 14 for quite a while, most of the week, so it's gone up slightly. Altcoin season comes in at about 35. Not surprising. That's gone up as well a little bit. And our market cap, overall crypto market cap, is at 2.32 trillion. That's not really changed. The volume has gone up about twice the volume at 99.22. It's about 49 last week. And market still remains under 2.5 trillion, but fairly even over the last month or so. Perhaps unsurprising here is the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin has now fallen from 58.4 to 57.9%. Ethereum has moved up slightly from I think it's about 10.2 to about 10.5. And others have also gone up very slightly from 31.4% to 31.6%, as we can see here. Okay, overall crypto ETF net flow 69 million megabytes and $635. And as we can see, from the beginning of last month, we've had a net, I believe, more a net negative than positive. And that's quite interesting to see that there. Okay. Yeah, so let's now look at many matters to do with Bitcoin itself. So the Bitcoin monthly over returns, as we can see, is now 3 red months so far. Minus 10.17 in January, minus 14.9 in February, and at the beginning of this match, this is the 1st of March, and so this is minus 0.2%. It's been a while. I don't think, looking at the past from 2013, we've not had 3 consecutive months like this in the beginning of the year that are all negative. So something to watch there. Okay, now one of my favorite things to look at here is the true market mean. True market mean at the moment weighs in at about 78,525, and as we can see, which is this lime green thing here or teal, I beg your pardon, not lime green, and we can see that the price of Bitcoin has fallen right through. Now the area I'm watching, the 2 areas here on this chart I'm looking at very closely. First is this one, this orange one, which is the short-term cost basis. Now I've shown you things in the past whereby when the short-term cost basis starts going below the true market mean, then we really need to watch out. And as we can see, the price keeps threatening to hit the realized price, which weighs in at about 54,568, which you can see here. If this should go below these, you can definitely expect the price of Bitcoin to come all the way down to the long-term holders cost basis, weighing in at the moment at about 42,003 cents. So you should expect that. But so far so good, we haven't had that happen. While we're at it, let's have a quick look at the Bitcoin charts here, and we can see the line we've taken there, which is about 70,000. It's fallen under it or so, as you can see here, and so far it's managed to hold its own by trading sideways. We do not know which direction this may take. There's no major consensus. If you look at our CVD as well as our volume data, there's no major consensus as to which direction that Bitcoin would go. It could go anywhere at this time. So we have to keep an eye out on it. This is why this is one of my favorite indicators to look closely at. Now, because of that, I've been looking more deeply at the on-chain analysis. And as we looked at last week, we have MVRV bands. And the things we really need to look at is this one, the MVRV at -1 standard deviation. And as we can see, if you look at the chart at above, let's hide this let's hide that. Let's put that normal. Okay. Set the zoom. All right. Okay. Sorry. Let's do that now. If you look at the price, the white line here is the Bitcoin price. And always comes very closely when it goes below the MVRV -1 standard deviation. That's when you see all the lows. If you look at the bottom here, we can basically put our mouse here and say around just over. Let's see. What does it give us here? Okay, so we're going to need this. Let's use the crosshairs. And if we bring that there, you can see that that's at, oops, sorry, we can't see the value properly. Let's do that. And there. So we're looking at about a minimum of about 1.82 and 1.02 as the MVRV -1 standard deviation. And I don't think it's going to get that low, but we should expect it to be somewhere around there, somewhere there. You see that this area here. It's about 1.02. Now we're not quite there yet, as we can see. If we do that, we're not quite there yet. So I'm expecting. I think it's been moving sideways, as you can see. But what I'm expecting is at least let the price break this, at least let it break the MVRV -1 standard deviation, and then before we begin to say, okay, it's getting close to the bottom. So far so good. It's not really done that for us, and so that's something I'm watching very closely, and I will definitely keep you posted. Next is one of the most obvious. Last week I talked about this, so let me show you this area here, which is the supply and profit and demand. Now, when these two, as you can see here, when these two sort of converge, this begins to show you the bottom, as you can see here. And that is what has happened right through. You can see that here, you can see some of it here as well. So here, let's increase the size. Here, we had it briefly, and then they broke apart. As we can see, let's hide the, as you can see, they came close together and then they've broken apart. So we're still not out of danger. All it's telling us is that all these things, all the on-chain analysis is telling us is that we are not quite out of danger yet. I think we should be very careful and not assume that things are we are out of the we have got to the bottom yet. I don't think we're at the bottom yet. The bottom, like we've discussed before in the past, I believe should be anywhere between 50 and about 60,000, as you can see between here and here, of course. When we start hitting that area, then I believe that we are at the bottom, but not yet. So let's not do that. Let's go here, which is the net realized profit and loss. And just by the glance, you can see that the green lines show you the profit, and here's at the loss. And if we put our mouse right over there, as you can see today, we have realized profit 81.05 and realized loss 107, so just 8.63 Bitcoin, and that immediately tells you that we are still sitting at overall at a net loss. I'm looking at it getting to about this area here, which is about a net loss of about 2.4, something like that, or less. I beg your pardon. Yeah, something like that, minus 50 or so, 60k, something like that, around this area here. That's what I'm looking at. I'm waiting for to see that happen before I begin to say that things will change for the better. Now this one is going to be interesting. The long-term realized profit and loss ratio. Without even saying too much, as we can see, this, ladies and gentlemen, is, as you can see, negative. And if we just, let's hide our presentation mode quickly. If we put our mouse here, I'm expecting something along these lines before I'll be at ease. So we should expect a few more months of losses. So far, so good. The long-term holders have managed to keep their heads above water, but we shall see what happens over time with them. Now, something that is very interesting, which I didn't really pay much attention to until recently, is this. So let's hide that. And look at this here. As we can see, we're looking at the cumulative price that tells you the overall loss, profit and loss, against the current realized price for long-term holders. And anytime there's a convergence, that's the purple and teal line. Anytime there's a convergence, it seems to be, you can see the bottom, and then we have it going up. And then there's another convergence here. It gets to the bottom here, as we can see, and then it's done the same here. And now it's done there, and now it's here at the moment. There's not been any convergence. So that's something that I'm looking at, because as you can see, each convergence tells you literally the bottom of the price. I think that the price, I think, is a bit ahead of the convergence, but the convergence kind of gives you the green light to start paying attention to a change in structure for Bitcoin on this matter. So that's another thing that we should keep our eye out. I shall watch very closely to see if this happens in this area here, which, as you can see, is not. And if we go back in time and just do this little bit of area here, you can see that there was some convergence, and of course, the price then heading upwards. Okay, now this one, without smoothing, this tells you it also gives you the, let's read that. It says compares Bitcoin to the Bitcoin MVRV ratio using the percentile ranks over a 365-day window, and a hypothesis that's greater than 35%. That means Bitcoin is running hot versus the BTC MVRV, and that tells you of potential over value. 0 to 35, it's outperforming, watch for mean reversion, and of course anything near 10, fair value, both assets moving together. So, or Bitcoin lagging behind the Bitcoin MVRV, telling it's potentially undervalued, which you can see in these areas, this dark blue areas here, and as you can see, this red there. Now, in the past, it kind of went through the price, but it's not done so. So now we just have to look at the colors here very more closely to see what's going to happen. And I'm looking at it here. If you can see, we're looking about this area here to be about a divergence of minus 17.8%, of which we're very far from, as we can see here. And here we're at about minus 1.1, so we're quite far, not out of the woods yet. We are hoping that some balance does come in over time. And let's see, okay, finally this one, we're not going to look at that. So finally is this, and this is the short-term holders in profit. And if we zoom in and we do that, as you can see, today is the 1st of March, and so short-term holders in profit are only about 8.89%, of which 91.11% of them are already in loss. Short-term holders, remember, are those who have held for 155 days, held Bitcoin for 155 days or less. Okay, so quick look at the charts on Ethereum. I would say to everyone, please watch out for the shorts, to the upcoming shorts videos. I will go into more details on some of these things. Ethereum, let's just hide. Let's hide the, and as we can see, I'm looking at Ethereum at these two areas here at 2,137 and 1,536. These are the two areas I'm watching. If it breaks this lower region, then I know that, okay, things could progressively get worse. if we have our smart money concept here, we can see that these areas here, here, and here are areas of demand, and there are also areas where are good buying areas. So far so good. Ethereum, I beg your pardon, hasn't fallen into that region yet, but one must keep an eye out on that. As I said, we're not out of the woods yet. Major selling area over 3,000 up here, but it requires us to pay attention. Finally, we have a quick look at Solana, and as we can see, there's two areas of demand and 2 areas of supply. There's an overlap here, making this area very strong, but so far so good. We don't know what could possibly happen to Solana. If you've taken the trouble to watch my video about Solana during the week, we looked at the Solana bear market drawdowns. That should explain in far more detail, so please watch that. That should give you far more detail as to what's going on with Solana. Let's see, let's just put our volume profiles on, and there's a danger here that this might come out. There might be a market imbalance here and a potential to fall all the way down if anything dramatic happens, particularly now that I think the war has started in the Middle East. But I think that the prices at this time have been factored in. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so that's me. So keep your eyes and ears open, and you're trading sharp. Have a good one.